In the glittering halls of the celestial court, a banquet raged. Laughter echoed off the polished marble floors as the gods feasted, oblivious to the drama about to unfold. Nergal, the brooding god of the underworld, sat alone, his dark eyes swirling with a tempestuous mix of emotions. He watched with disdain as Namtar, the skeletal emissary of Ereshkigal, queen of the underworld, entered the hall. Namtar, his voice a rasping whisper, approached each deity, collecting their portion of the celestial feast for his mistress. All greeted him with respect, save Nergal. A tense silence descended upon the room as Nergal met Namtar's hollow gaze. In that charged moment, a lifetime of animosity crackled between them. Nergal, with a sneer that could curdle milk, refused to offer his portion. The affront hung heavy in the air, a spark threatening to ignite a celestial inferno. News of this insult reached the ears of Ereshkigal, and the very foundations of the underworld trembled with her fury. How dare this upstart god, who reeked of scorched earth and pestilence, disrespect her? Vowing vengeance, she unleashed a torrent of curses, promising to make Nergal suffer a fate worse than any plague he could conjure. Undeterred by her wrath, Nergal, fueled by a potent mixture of defiance and a strange yearning, hatched a plan as audacious as it was perilous. He approached his father, Ea, the wise and ancient god of the waters. In hushed tones, he revealed his scheme, a descent into the very heart of the underworld, to face Ereshkigal in her own domain. Ea, his brow furrowed with worry, cautioned his son. The underworld is not for the faint of heart, Nergal. It is a realm of shadows and silence, where life withers and hope dies. Tread carefully, for the path you choose may lead not to conquest, but to oblivion. Heeding his father's warning, Nergal sought protection. 7 powerful deities, each a guardian against the underworld's horrors, were bestowed upon him. Ea, his voice laced with foreboding, issued one final warning. Beware, my son, of Ereshkigal's allure. Her beauty is a poisoned chalice, and her touch a fever dream. Resist her enticements, for they are a trap. With a resolute nod, Nergal embarked on his descent. He crossed the shimmering river separating the realms, the air growing colder with each step. The vibrant colors of the celestial realm bled away, replaced by a suffocating monochrome. The once boisterous god found himself enveloped in a chilling silence, broken only by the mournful cries of unseen creatures. He arrived at the gates of the underworld, a colossal edifice of obsidian, its surface etched with the writhing forms of tormented souls. The gatekeeper, a monstrous entity with eyes like burning embers, barred his way. Nergal, drawing upon the power of his guardians, pushed past, the gates groaning in protest. Within the underworld, the air hung heavy with the stench of decay. Skeletal hands reached out from the shadows, clawing at the edges of his vision. He navigated the labyrinthine corridors, each twist and turn revealing a new horror, a mountain of bones, a river of boiling blood, a garden choked by the skeletal remains of forgotten gods. Finally, he reached the obsidian palace of Ereshkigal. Here, amidst the oppressive darkness, a single candle flickered, casting an ethereal glow upon the queen. Ereshkigal, her beauty as breathtaking as it was terrifying, rose from her throne. Her eyes, pools of liquid fire, met Nergal's. A tense silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken emotions. Ereshkigal, her voice a melodious whisper that sent shivers down Nergal's spine, offered him a goblet of glistening wine. He remembered his father's warning, but the lure of the forbidden was intoxicating. He reached for the goblet, his hand trembling. Suddenly, the 7 guardians materialized around him, their forms crackling with divine energy. Their silent plea was clear: resist. Nergal hesitated, the goblet hovering precariously between him and Ereshkigal. A flicker of amusement, cruel and cold, played on her lips. "Do you fear my hospitality, war god?" she taunted, her voice dripping with honeyed venom. "Is the mighty Nergal such a coward?" Shame burned in Nergal's chest. He would not be manipulated. With a growl, he pushed the goblet aside. The wine spilled onto the obsidian floor, sizzling and evaporating in a plume of acrid smoke. Ereshkigal's amusement vanished, replaced by a fury that sent a tremor through the very foundation of the palace. "Foolish mortal," she hissed, her voice losing its melodic charm. "You have condemned yourself." Raising a skeletal hand adorned with a single onyx claw, Ereshkigal unleashed a torrent of dark magic. The air crackled with raw power as tendrils of shadow lashed out at Nergal and his guardians. The protectors, true to their charge, surged forward, their divine light clashing with the encroaching darkness. The clash filled the chamber with a deafening roar, the ground trembling beneath their feet. Nergal, caught in the maelstrom, felt the raw power of the underworld sear his skin. He fought alongside his guardians, his own divine energy shimmering like a beacon in the darkness. But Ereshkigal's rage was a force unlike anything he had ever faced. It was cold, suffocating, and seemed to sap the very life force from him. His resolve began to waver. He glanced at his protectors, their forms flickering as their energy waned. One by one they started to falter, pushed back by the relentless onslaught of dark magic. Panic gnawed at him. He couldn't let them fall. He couldn't fail. Suddenly, a memory surfaced Ie's warning about Ereshkigal's allure. Was this just another test? Was her anger a facade, designed to overwhelm his defenses? A desperate gamble formed in his mind. With a roar that shook the very walls of the palace, Nergal threw himself forward, his dark energy surging. He bypassed the attacking tendrils, aiming straight for Ereshkigal. The guardians, confused by his actions, momentarily faltered. Ereshkigal, however, was caught off guard. Their forms collided in a burst of blinding light and swirling shadows. For a moment, the world seemed to stand still. Then, slowly, the light began to overpower the darkness. Nergal, his grip tight on Ereshkigal's arm, felt a surge of power unlike anything he had ever experienced. Her rage, so fiercely potent moments ago, was now a flickering ember in his grasp. He could extinguish it altogether, or... Hesitation bloomed in his chest. Ereshkigal, her eyes wide with surprise and a flicker of something. Fear, stared back at him. Was this the queen who had just unleashed a tempest upon him? "Enough," he commanded, his voice echoing in the stunned silence. The clash of energies ceased, the remaining guardians flickering back into focus. Ereshkigal, still held captive in his grip, struggled in vain. "Release me, war god. You have overstepped your bounds," she spat, but a tremor in her voice betrayed her bravado. Nergal met her fiery gaze, a slow smile tugging at his lips. "Perhaps," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "But tell me, Queen Ereshkigal, wouldn't it be more interesting if we settled this another way?" Ereshkigal, her eyes narrowing, seemed to contemplate his words. Was this some new ploy? But a spark of curiosity flickered in her gaze, battling with her rage. The chamber remained silent, charged with unspoken tension. The guardians watched, their forms flickering with nervous energy. The fate of their mission hung in the balance, the future of the underworld teetering on the edge of a single decision.